today we'll be talking about virtual assistants and how to make your computer to do whatever you want it to do. And before we move forward, let me introduce myself. My name is Veronika Kolesnikova. I am a Microsoft MVP in AI, and I'm also a senior software engineer. I have a master's degree in information technology. I started my career as a quality assurance engineer, and then I moved to development. I'm mostly working with Microsoft technologies like C#, .NET. I'm a huge fan of all their cross-platform solutions, including solutions created with Xamarin. My hobbies are dancing, traveling, and aerial yoga. So here's the agenda for next probably an hour. I will leave some time in the end for your questions. We'll start with general overview of bots and virtual assistants, and then we move to some design techniques for bots and just talk about ideas, how you can think about your bots, what do you need to keep in mind when you start creating a bot. Then we'll move to actually development tools and talk about actually the coding, the tools, and what is available and what Microsoft is sharing with you as developers. Then we'll move to a quick demo. There I'm going to show a virtual assistant template. And in the end, I'll share the useful links. You can probably see them now, but I will definitely bring them up later too. And let's move to the overview and talk about virtual assistants and bots. So when I first started working with virtual assistants, I started searching online and figuring out what is the definition of a virtual assistant. And surprisingly, I found lots of job openings for virtual assistants. Apparently, it's a job, and a virtual assistant can be a human, but we're not going to talk about those job opportunities today, and we're not talking about humans. We'll be talking about bots or virtual assistants that we can develop. And in general, it's software that can understand what your customer wants and then either provide some kind of response or perform some kind of action. There is a huge conversation going on. What's going on with bots and virtual assistants? Are they the same? Are they completely different? How are they related to each other? And there are so many different opinions. I'm arguing with my colleagues sometimes about that. I personally think that virtual assistants and bots are the same, and virtual assistant is kind of an extended bot, if you might say that. Initially, you are creating a bot, and then you are connecting it to different channels. You can connect it to just a website and have it as a pop-up there, or you can actually connect it to Cortana or Alexa or Google Assistant, and then it will become a virtual assistant skill. There are several most popular assistants, and I'm gonna actually go through them really quickly in my next slide. As you probably know, there are millions of skills and applications available. If you have a virtual assistant, and I am assuming most of you have a virtual assistant of some kind, either it's Siri or Alexa, or Cortana if you have a Windows computer. Then you probably know that there are so many different skills available. There are skills for work, there are skills for leisure, all kinds of skills, reading books and you name it. There are so many of them. Virtual assistants can be used on any devices, mobile devices. So if you have Android, you probably have Google Assistant there. If you have Apple phone, then you have Siri there. You can use special hardware. If you are familiar with Alexa, then probably you heard about Echo and Echo Dot. Similar things are available for Cortana and Google Assistant. And then, obviously, if you can use mobile phones, you can use tablets and laptops and all that fun stuff with virtual assistants. There are several ways, several main ways, because there are always new options to communicate with the virtual assistant, but there are three main ways for communication. It's through text. So your end user or customer actually types a question or a command, and then your virtual assistant actually analyzes the text, the written text, figures out what was intent there and what it needs to do, and then returns a text answer or performs some kind of action. Next option there is voice. And I think that one is the most popular one. Your end user can actually ask your virtual assistant skill, ask a question using just voice commands, or ask to perform some kind of action. And then there are also several ways to process those voice commands. They can be translated to text inside that skill, or it can be processed as speech information, and then the language understanding part of your virtual assistant skill will understand what the request was. And then the third option here, and I think that one is the least popular among those three, is by taking and or uploading images. And in most cases, when you upload an image, you have some kind of text there. And then your virtual assistant skill can actually provide optical character recognition and convert that image into text, then analyze, figure out what was the intent and what the entities there. And then based on that information, either return text as an answer or talk back with speech opportunities there. Sometimes your customer can just take a picture of an object and then submit to your virtual assistant skill, and then it will go through some kind of image analysis there, and then based on that, they will receive some kind of feedback from your virtual assistant. So there are so many different options. There are just a couple of main examples that are available. And now let's move to the most popular digital assistants. The first one was Siri. It was introduced by Apple. I think they first released it with iPhone 3, if I'm not mistaken. It was I know for sure it was 2011. And I remember it was just revolutionary that you can carry your virtual assistant with your phone and ask questions. And I remember me and my friends, we were playing with the virtual assistant for a long time. Next one here is Google Now. Now they actually call it Google Assistant, but the original name was Google Now, and I know they changed it a couple of times. And Google released it in 2012. Now it can be used with all Android devices, or they also have a separate hardware where you can use Google Assistant. Next one here is Cortana. Probably lots of you have Cortana or seen Cortana, especially if you are using Windows. It is integrated there by default, and also all devices that are using Windows can be connected to Cortana. Cortana was released in 2014 by Microsoft. Currently, Cortana can be installed on a mobile device. It doesn't matter if you have Android or Apple device. You can install Cortana as a separate application there. Next one here is Alexa. Alexa is super popular. They have several hardware options where you can use Alexa. They are relatively cheap, relatively inexpensive, I would say. And there are different options there. They have ones with screens, ones with just like small round echo dots where you can use Alexa. And Alexa was released in 2014 by Amazon. And then the last one here in this list is Facebook M. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people actually pay enough attention to that Facebook M, and not a lot of people heard about it. But if you have Facebook, and especially if you use Facebook Messenger, then you probably had a chance to interact with Facebook M. That was released in 2017. I wouldn't call it the full-blown virtual assistant. It is definitely less advanced comparing to other four, but it's still there. So if you see that little sign of Facebook M in your messenger, you probably recognize it next time. Okay, now we have all the basic details of bots and virtual assistants. So we'll move to design options. When you're ready to start thinking about your bot, you are not ready to actually jump and develop it right away. You need to plan it. You need to figure out what kind of bot you need to create, what is popular, what is on demand, what other similar skills are available. There are so many options out there, so many virtual assistants, so many hardware options, and just a huge amount of skills available out there. So you need to make sure that a new skill that you are building is gonna be successful, it's gonna attract people, it is exactly what they need. So before starting developing a virtual assistant skill or a bot, actually any kind of software, you probably need to check the market and see what's already out there. And here I have the diagram that is statistics from, I think, a couple of years ago, so it's not brand new. And those are the most popular options for skills usage, how people use the virtual assistant skills. They are not separated by device, so it is just all together here on this graph. And the most popular use case is ask a question. So people mostly ask questions from their virtual assistants. Second one is listen to streaming music service. that is really convenient, especially when you are driving or you're busy doing something and you just want to turn on the music. It is really easy to ask your virtual assistant to do that for you. And then the third one is checking the weather. That is definitely important, especially if you, like me, who lives in that really weird climate where we have sun and rain and everything at the same time. You never know what weather it is now or in 5 minutes. And then the last option here in this graph doesn't mean that it's the least popular in general, but it is just way less popular option is listen to podcast or other talk formats. I guess that listening to music is more popular than listening to podcasts. So you need to figure out where your future skill is gonna land. Is it gonna be in that area where it's super competitive? Then you need to figure out what will distinguish your virtual assistant skill from thousands of skills out there available for the same purpose. You need to explore different bot use cases and design best practices, and you need to understand bot anatomy, such as brand, personality, conversation, advanced UI controls. So it depends on what kind of tools your end users are gonna access your virtual assistant from. Whether it's a small device without any kind of screen, or maybe it's a bigger device, or it's a phone where they have screen, they have options to interact using text and voice, and then you can add additional UI elements, maybe some buttons there. You need to think it in advance before starting building your bot. And if you want to add something later, that's okay, but in general, it's good to know what kind of end users you're gonna have, what kind of devices they are gonna use. Because some devices, they are limited only to voice commands. So if you build a bot which will only use text, then voice is not gonna work. That can be a problem. Okay, so here I have several principles of bot design. Those are really important things that you need to think through before actually jumping in and starting developing things. You need to first minify number of steps user needs to get his or her problem solved. Usually, people who use virtual assistants, they want to have their answers quickly because they don't have time. Maybe they're in the middle of something. They don't have time to call on your hotline and talk to actual representative or send emails back and forth. So they want to get the just quick answer. They don't want to sit for hours and hours and talk to your bot, even if your bot is super funny and super smart. That is usually not what people want to do with their life. So you need to make sure that a user gets an answer as soon as possible. And if it's not the correct answer, then you have you have less steps actually to get to the right answer. Next one here is you need to determine devices that your users will connect through. I already mentioned it in previous slides. So if most of your customers are using that small device that can only accept voice commands, but you start building for text first, then your bot won't be popular with those people. You will have less customers. It won't be so useful for your customers, and that's not a good option because we want to build really useful skills, useful bots. And then the third option here, you need to make replies as short and precise as possible. It is great when your bot is super smart and has connections to different knowledge bases, or maybe the whole search engine is available for your bot and you can return whole articles or even whole books. But usually it is really hard to sit there and listen to a long answer. You need to have that option to figure out if the answer is too long, then you need to minimize it. You can provide a shorter answer and then have an option to either email to your representative for more information, or call them, or maybe just provide a URL where people can get more details. Oh, I had animation here. I forgot about it, but it looks beautiful anyways. Okay, next one. Yes, I have animation here too. Next principle here is you need to add an easy way to return to the start, exit, and or talk to a human or search articles online. So all those principles, you can see that they are all kind of connected to each other. And things that I mentioned for previous principle, they are related to this one too. In order to shorten your answers, you need that option to connect to a human or search articles online. And then if your user changes his or her mind and want to stop that conversation, or maybe they already got their answer and they don't want to continue the conversation, then they need to have an option to stop there or restart your skill so they can start asking questions or providing new information to your bot. And then the last one here is you need to keep bot updated using feedback or failure log. There is a huge misconception that if you build in machine learning tools or bots, those are also related to machine learning closely, then it is a completely different thing, and it's not a software, it is just something out of this world, but it is still software, so you need to follow all those principles of building quality software. You need to keep it updated, and especially your language understanding models that you have. You need to make sure that they are accurate, they are providing correct information, and using failure log, you can see that something didn't work, or some questions they were not answered, or the bot just got confused and then return correct information. And based on those logs, you can go back and retrain your language understanding models in order for them to make it better next time and answer those questions and be more user-friendly. Okay, let's move to developer bot. And here I will tell you, just provide an overview of Microsoft tools and libraries that are available. There are lots and lots and lots of options there, and it's a huge list, so just brace yourself. First one, and I think that's the core of the bot building using Microsoft tools, and it's Bot Framework SDK. That is the SDK, so you can use it separately and connect it to whatever machine learning tools or whatever cloud options you want. It doesn't really matter. Bot framework, that's the core that you can use anywhere, and you can use for those applications, for those bots and virtual assistant skills that you want to build from scratch. Either you have experience building bots and you just want that bare bone framework, and then open your IDE, for example, Visual Studio, and just start building from scratch using the SDK. Or maybe you just like to jump into that and start from scratch, even if you don't have experience, because Microsoft has really good documentation online. They have examples on GitHub. They are willing to help you. They have forums and conversations and learning paths. So you don't have to be super knowledgeable or have lots of experience in order to start building, even if you want to start building right from scratch. Okay, next option here is Azure Web App Bot, and you probably guessed that it's on Azure. So if you have Azure subscription, you can go to Azure portal, search for Azure Web App Bot, and you will create a bot which is already connected to the cloud and has all the benefits of Azure, like monitoring, like connection to language understanding or other cognitive services. Also option to connect it to different channels. So initially you are creating a bot, and then by connecting to different channels, you're making it a virtual assistant skill. There are so many options available there. Is it just a web chat? You can connect to Cortana, you can connect to direct line speech. And I'm gonna also show it in my demo how you can connect it to Alexa. And also there, when you are creating that web app bot on Azure, you have two options. You can create completely empty bot that will just repeat whatever your user says or types, or you can automatically connect it to language understanding model, LUIS. I'm gonna mention it also later. And then using language understanding, you can actually figure out what the user wants, and based on that, provide an answer. And that can be automatically connected right there. And when you are creating Azure Web App Bot, you have an option to download the code and then continue your development on your local machine. And when you're ready, you can publish it back to Azure. Next one here is a healthcare bot that is really similar to previous option, Azure Web App Bot. Azure Web App Bot is available for all kinds of industries. It doesn't matter what industry you're building it for. Healthcare bot already has that pre-trained model, that layer of intelligence that will understand some maybe diseases, maybe what types of doctors they're available, but still it is just the basic template for you that you need to customize for your specific case. And also healthcare bot is HIPAA compliant, so you don't need to worry about that. In order to make your bot smarter, you need to connect it to machine learning. And there are several options there. You can use cognitive services. Those are pre-built machine learning models that you can connect using REST API connection. They are all available on Azure, and there are most popular ones for bot development. Those are LUIS, or Language Understanding Intelligence Service, Q&A Maker, Azure Search, Vision Services, You can use all of them, or you can choose what cognitive services you need for your specific case. Next one, you can use custom machine learning tools to create your custom models using your custom data. There are several customizable cognitive services available, but if you want to build your machine learning model from scratch and you know how to do that, or you want to learn how to do it, there are several tools available. There is ML.net for .NET developers who want to create their custom machine learning models using C# and F#. There is also Azure ML. It's like the whole studio, the whole UI that you can use to create your custom models using your data. And then there are also tools provided by other companies like TensorFlow, Onyx. There are so many options there. So if you want to create custom machine learning models, you just go out there and you'll find lots and lots of tools depending on your preferences. Next one is Language Understanding Orchestrator. That is brand new. It is still in preview. So technically, when you have several models available, several language understanding models available, you need to figure out which model to use when. For example, when your user asks one question, it should be directed to one model. If it's a different question, it should be directed to different model. That language understanding orchestrator can actually perform that for you. You just need to connect it to your bot. It's super cool. Definitely check it out. Next one here is a virtual assistant template, and I'm going to show it in my demo. That is a template that is available for Visual Studio. You can just create your project of that type, and then you already out of the box will have so many different options. You have basic dialogue, you have a couple of language understanding models available there. You also will have Q&A maker, which will kind of set up that type of personality your virtual assistant will have. You can easily set it up in Q&A maker. There are several options. It depends on the application of your bot, whether it's just a fun conversation, so it should be like a fun type of bot, or it's more serious, then it should be more professional. And I'll show it to you in my demo. Next one is also relatively new. They first started, they in Microsoft, they first started mentioning it at Build this year. So using Bot Composer, you can combine code and that UI tool to create your bots. You will have connection to again, language understanding and Q&A maker, and you'll see the flow of your conversation. It is really convenient to use it, and you can both use your Visual Studio to write code right there, and then use the Bot Composer to just submit questions that your user might ask, or see the flow, how it's going on. And then also you will have an option to export that bot and use it with Power Virtual Agent. And you can actually create several bots or several skills and then connect them all together. It doesn't matter if you combine the one created by Bot Composer with PVA one, or custom one you created with the one you created with Bot Composer. You can mix and match, and you can connect your skills and your bots together. Power Virtual Agent, that is part of the Power Platform. You don't need to write any code at all in order to create your virtual assistant skill. It is mostly a drag and drop experience. So if you have a mixed team where you have developers and non-developers, then you can both create virtual assistant skills, or maybe create just different parts of one big virtual assistant skill. And it's just super convenient. You don't have to write code at all there. And then, okay, and then the last one here is the bot framework emulator. That is just for local testing. You can install it on your local machine and test your bot that you created in probably Visual Studio or anywhere else with that emulator. It is really convenient. Here is just a general schema of how everything is connected in that Microsoft Virtual Assistant world. You can see the bot framework is in the middle of everything, and then you are connecting it to cognitive services here, like language understanding, Q&A maker, and then using Azure Bot Service, you are connecting to different channels. You can use different inputs, either it's text or speech, and then return different types of answers there, connected to different devices. Also, you can connect it to external knowledge base, it can be data source, general knowledge, all kinds of databases there. And then all skills can be customizable. They can send an email, show you points of interest, and so on and so forth. And then can be connected to Office and lots of different things. Or they can be connected to third-party assistants, so they can integrate with other skills and communicate with other skills. Now let's move to the demo. Okay, let me exit this and go to my Visual Studio. Let me check if we have any questions here. Okay, I don't see any questions. So if you have questions, definitely let me know. But here, I just created a virtual assistant template from scratch. Sorry, I will click here. I created it from scratch. You actually need to install that extension for your Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio 2019. So I'm not sure about earlier versions, but it is definitely working with 2019. And then you will just go there and you will create a new project of type virtual assistant template. And out of the box, so here I didn't do anything, didn't write even a line of code. And out of the box, I got basically 2 projects that are already functional. So I have the test project here for testing your bot. Those are unit tests. If you want to test it actually and see how it actually interacts, then you can use that emulator that I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. But out of the box, you are getting lots of things. So you have the default activity handler available. And then you have a couple of controllers here. Let me show you the main activity here. It's already preset for you, so you're not starting from scratch. You already have a couple of options there, a couple of ways of interaction. So you can answer a couple of questions or perform some kind of actions out of the box. You don't need to do anything. You are creating the new user intro card. So basically it is asking your users their name and then use that name in further communication. So it's not completely empty. It is performing basic functionality, and it's a good way to actually understand the structure of your virtual assistant, you need to, so here you have an option to see how it's all connected, how it's supposed to work. You can extend that template, and you not only can, you definitely should extend it because it is definitely really basic, but that is already working option. It is performing just basic functionality. And then here you have two dialogues. You have main dialogue, which is FAQ dialogue, which is questions and answers. And here you have a couple of steps. Which you can use. The final step, sorry, I get distracted looking at the onboarding dialog here. Let's open that one. And so here we have that name prompt. So it is receiving the name of your user and then uses it in for the interactions. And here you can see that it's connected to LUIS or language understanding service. And let me show you where we have them. So those are language models that are available. You have all responses here, which is connecting to the main responses language file and onboarding responses. So there are only two basic dialogues available out of the box, but it's still really good. And also you have connection to Q&A Maker out of the box. Also, cool thing here is the deployment option. So when you're ready to deploy your bot, have those Q&A Maker in different languages, language understanding service in different languages out of the box. Also, you have those deploy scripts, so you can deploy just separate parts, or you can deploy the whole thing. So probably for the first time when you are ready to check it on Azure, then you need to deploy the whole thing, and it will create all resources that you need right in the portal. Let me actually go to the portal and show you what it creates. It creates a bunch of stuff. You can see it creates the resource group itself, and then inside it, the web app bot, the application and sites that you will really need in order to monitor the health of your bot and what's happening there in general. And then you have that call services, several of them available because there are a couple of language models, a couple of LUIS connections there, and also Q&A Maker. And you also have that orchestrator available right there, so it will figure out where it should direct your user's question, if it should be directed to one language understanding model or a different one or Q&A Maker. That orchestrator will do everything for you. I think the only big downside of using that template that I noticed, it is pretty expensive because there are so many resources, but it is totally up to you. If you don't need the search service, you definitely can remove it. And it's up to you and your clients how much they're willing to spend and how much functionality they need. So if you see so many resources here, it doesn't mean that for your specific scenarios, you will need all of them. And then I wanted to show you a cool option here. Let me see. So when you go to Web App Bot, you have all information that you need in order to actually build it and test it and publish and all the information available here. You can test it right in web chat. So we're not going to test it, but I just wanted to mention that because it's important. And then here you have that channels option where you have, so I already deployed that web, the virtual assistant template. So we don't have to wait because it takes a little bit of time and we are really short on time. So I already deployed it. And I already connected it to Alexa because I wanted to show it to you. It is super exciting. So it is connected to web chat out of the box. And then you have all those available channels where you can connect your bot. So Alexa is brand new channel. They also were mentioning the WhatsApp channel during the Microsoft Ignite, which was 2 weeks ago. They were mentioning that one, but that is going through a third-party tool. So it is not available yet right now here in the portal, but it will be available really soon. But Alexa is really new. Before, you didn't have that option to connect directly to Alexa. You had to do some tricks and jump through hoops and use direct line speech in some cases. But now you have that option to connect right to Alexa. You definitely need to have that Amazon developer account and create your skill setup there. And then here you have that endpoint URL, which is here for you to connect your Alexa to your web app bot here. And then the skill ID you are entering from the Alexa portal. Let me actually show you the Alexa portal. Okay, yeah, that's the portal that you have. There is a really great instruction on Microsoft website, or I wrote a blog post where I actually provide an instruction on how you can connect your virtual assistant template that you deployed to Alexa. But I'm just going to show you the main thing that you need to remember. Here you have endpoints. You have your endpoints, and you need to set up that in that default region, you are setting up that bot framework connection, which you grabbed from Azure portal. And then it's really important to select that option here. My development endpoint is a subdomain of a domain that was a wildcard certificate and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, and then you are connecting your Azure web app bot or that virtual assistant template. So not just the web app bot resource, but everything that you have there, you are connecting to Alexa, and you can test it right here. And then vice versa, you are grabbing that ID from here, or there are a couple of other places where you grab that ID from, and you are inserting here. So that's the main connection that you need there. And you can go and test it. Let me actually try it. So I'm not going to talk to Alexa, but I'm going to type. Okay. I hope it is connected. Okay, I guess it's not connected. But yeah, it is always like that. When I need to demo something live, it is acting up on me. Let's try. So stop, that's a magic word for Alexa to stop whatever it was doing. Just stop the skill. But so actually what I was doing wrong here is that I used the name of that resource group from Azure, but actually I named it differently in the Alexa developer console. That's why it didn't work. That's the name of the bot, and you need to open it first in order to test here. But so all those responses, they're just out of the box. I didn't set up anything there. And the interaction and the way of interaction, it actually comes from that virtual assistant template that I deployed. And it actually remembered that I already tested it before, and it said, welcome back. So I think that is super cool. Let me go back to the slides and show you the useful links that I wanted to share. Okay. So here I am sharing some useful links so you can go back to Microsoft Learn and learn more about bots and virtual assistants, and then connecting bots to Microsoft Teams. You can also find me online on Twitter, on LinkedIn. When you are trying to connect with me on LinkedIn, write a little note how you know me and why you need to connect to me, because sometimes it's a little confusing. On Twitter, my DMs are open, so if you have any questions, definitely let me know. You can also read my blog and check the virtual assistant template and check Microsoft documentation. So that's it. Thank you so much. It was really great.